Good afternoon and welcome. Today is Good Friday. It is a dark day for our faith, but an important day for us to talk about how we prepare for the many different seasons of life. And so I welcome you to this service, the service of Good Friday, for all that are here and all that are joining us online. I want to share a thought. Whenever it seems like we go into parking lots anymore, there has become a very popular car. And perhaps you've even read about this, that one of the most popular cars right now is the RAV4. Maybe even when you go out, you'll see a couple in the nearest parking lot. When I was growing up and as a kid, it was the VW Bug. And it was so popular, they were just all over, and Disney had made a movie about it, Herbie the Love Bug. And there was this kid's story that was fun of Herbie the Love Bug that did these amazing things. But also, it became a children's game. And perhaps, if you're older, you remember riding with a friend, and if you saw one, you would go, Herbie, Herbie. And if you weren't the first one to say it, then you got to punch your friend, right, in the arm. It was a silly game, right? But it was noticing the commonalities. And of course, then the people who wanted to be individualistic and be able to find their car in the parking lot would put a bumper sticker on their bumper so they could find, because there were so many of them. There was crowds of them. My friends, this is a day where we remember that while we are individually loved by God, our actions as a crowd make a difference as well. 60 years ago, it was just 60 years ago that the Second Vatican Council made a pronouncement, Nostra Aetate, marking arguably the most important movement in modern Jewish-Christian relations. And they repudiated the statement that it was Jews that crucified Christ. It was a full-fledged condemnation of anti-Semitism. And that was just 60 years ago, but it was truly revolutionary. And it overturned centuries of teachings of contempt that falsely taught that it was just a certain group that called for the crucifixion and death of Jesus. This was important for starting a new wave of interfaith dialogue, which has benefited all people, I do believe. And while it is in no way eliminated anti-Semitism, it is one of those things that when we name the people in the crowd, which we will hear the story today, can we put ourselves in there as well? As the people of the day, as the people of faith, of the people who can be so easily swayed from Palm Sunday, waving branches and celebrating someone coming in with a message, with a movement, with a way of life of feeding people, of healing people, of welcoming children, of eating with those that are different, of promoting community and ways to interact and get along with each other rather than the violence. That message was so threatening to people in power that they couldn't stand to have him stay. These are the stories that are told. How do we hear them as a child, and how do we hear them as an adult? My friends, listen again to the stories of today. Don't be caught off guard as we try not to get punched. But let us listen to them together. Let us hear these stories and ascertain how we are to live as people of faith, called to love others as Jesus has loved us. Let us sing together, Ah, Holy Jesus.
A reading from the Gospel of Matthew, chapters 27, verses 17 through 24. Please join in the reading as part of the crowd when I indicate. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus said, "You say so." But when he was accused by the chief priests and elders, he did not answer. Then Pilate said to him, "Do you not hear how many accusations they make against you?" But he gave him no response, not even to a single charge, so that the governor was greatly amazed. Now at the festival, the governor was accustomed to release a prisoner for the crowd, anyone whom they chose. At that time, they had a notorious prisoner called Jesus Barabbas. So after they had gathered, Pilate said to him, "Whom do you want me to release for you, Jesus Barabbas or Jesus who is called the Messiah?" For he realized that it was out of jealousy that they had handed him over. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent word to him, "Have nothing to do with the innocent man, for today I have suffered a great deal because of a dream about him." Now the chief priest and the elders persuaded the crowds to ask for Barabbas and to have Jesus killed. The governor said to them, "Which of the two do you want me to release for you?" And they said,
"Barabbas."
Pilate said to them, "Then what should I do with Jesus who is called the Messiah?" All of them said,
"Let him be crucified."
Then he asked, "Why? What evil has he done?" But they shouted all the more,
"Let him be crucified."
So when Pilate saw that he could do nothing, but rather a riot was beginning, he took some water and he washed his hand before the crowd, saying, "I am innocent of this man's blood. See to it yourselves." Then the people as a whole answered him,
"His blood be on us and on our children."
A reading from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 27, verses 26 to 31a. Please join in the reading as part of the crowd when I extend my hands towards you. But he, Pilate, had Jesus flogged and handed him over to be crucified. Then the governor's soldiers took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole company of soldiers around him. They stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him, and then twisted together a crown of thorns and set it on his head. They put a staff in his right hand. Then they knelt in front of him and mocked him.
"Hail, King of the Jews,"
they said. They spit on him and took the staff and struck him on the head again and again. After they had mocked him, they took off the robe and put his own clothes on him.
Reading from the Gospel of Luke, chapters 23, verses 33 and 34. When they came to the place called the Skull, they crucified him there, along with the criminals, one on his right, the other on his left. Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing."
Reading from Luke 21, verses 39 through 43. One of the criminals who were hanged there kept deriding him and saying, "Are you not the Messiah? Save yourself and us." But the other rebuked him, saying, "Do you not fear God, since you are under the same sentence of condemnation? And we indeed have been condemned justly, for we are getting what we deserve for our deeds. But this man has done nothing wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." He replied, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise."
A reading from the Gospel according to Luke, chapter 23, verses 44 to 46. It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 in the afternoon. while the sun's light failed and the curtain of the temple was torn in two. Then Jesus, crying with a loud voice, said, "Father, into your hands I commend my spirit."
A reading from the Gospel of John, chapter 19, verses 28 to 30. After this, when Jesus knew that all was now finished, he said, in order to fulfill the scripture, "I am thirsty." A jar full of sour wine was standing there, so they put a sponge full of the wine on a branch of hyssop and held it to his mouth. When Jesus had received the wine, he said, "It is finished." And he bowed his head and gave up his spirit.
Even when
It is finished.